Hi, I'm Dr. Dranitsaris with today's episode of Relationships Live, featuring the ISFJ. We're hosting Relationship Empowerment Month, bringing to you the personality types and the relationship styles of all of the 16 personality types and 8 striving styles. As you'll see by tuning into each episode, no two types are exactly alike. But when we understand what drives the behavior of each of the styles, how they bond, how they romance, you're more likely to have a successful relationship with any style, not taking their behavior personally, but instead seeking to understand the unique communication, romance, and relationship approach of each of the 16 types. Plus, you'll have the benefit of understanding why you behave the way you do in relationships. ISFJs are all about finding stability and security in their relationships, so they're pretty picky about whom they let into their inner circle. They take their sweet time evaluating whether a potential partner is trustworthy and compatible with their values before diving into anything too deep. These folks are pretty private too. They like to keep their personal lives separate from others until they're feeling comfortable and secure in the relationship. In the Striving Styles personality system, we attach each of the 16 MBTI types to an emotional need that drives their behavior. And you'll hear me talk a lot today about the ISFJ, or the stabilizers, need to be secure. It's a primary driver for all of them. And even when they are comfortable in relationship, they can come across as emotionally reserved, choosing to be a bit sentimental as opposed to emotionally expressive, often leaving their partners feeling a bit frustrated or anxious about what's really going on inside their head and their heart. But hey, just because they're not always super expressive with their emotions doesn't mean that they don't care. It's quite the opposite, in fact. ISFJs are deeply devoted and committed partners who show their love and care through the things they do and the sacrifices they make for their special someone. You might hear them say, you, you might not hear them say, I love you all the time, but you'll definitely feel it in the way they always put your needs first. So here's a few general things you should know about the ISFJ. They're all about keeping things stable and steady, making sure everyone's happy and content, because they have a hard time tolerating conflict in their relationships. They start building relationships by getting to know what people want and then offering their help. They're not suspicious of other people's motives, and they just want to do their own thing with enthusiasm and dedication, which is often being helpful and supportive to others. When ISFJs commit to something, they see it through until the very end. They'll be there for their friends no matter what, even if they don't really understand why they're so excited about their new do-it-yourself project. They'll pitch in and help until everything is perfect. They'll go to great lengths to prioritize their partner's needs over their own, shy away from discussing issues that are bothering them, and distance themselves emotionally. They might even resort to giving in to their partner's demands or using humor to deflect difficult situations. Worst of all, they might clam up entirely to avoid having to deal with a touchy subject. While these tactics might work in the short term to keep things pleasant, they have some major long-term consequences if issues aren't addressed and dealt with constructively. These people are so easy to be around because you get the idea from what I'm saying that they like everything to be smooth. They're known to be no frills. What you see is what you get. And they don't take a lot of time going inside to see what they might be feeling about things. And so this makes them really easy to be around because they work at getting rid of any disharmony. and making others happy. But getting to know them on a deeper level can be a bit tricky. They might not like talking about their feelings, or they might distance themselves when things get tough. ISFJs have a tough time speaking their mind and sticking up for themselves, which is one of their biggest challenges. And it makes it hard to communicate what they're feeling or what they need or what's troubling them. They might even give in to demands or use humor to change the subject. The problem is, if they don't address their issues, they could end up causing big problems in the long run. So, with their introverted nature, they often retreat to their inner world, also, as we call it, their inner cave, to escape the demands of the outside world. This is a place where they can recharge their energy, reflect, and contemplate. Their time alone is a refuge where they can connect with their thoughts and emotions and find peace and security. For ISFJs, their inner cave is their safe haven, where they can be their authentic selves, free from the judgment and demands of others. They value their solitude, and it's very difficult for them in relationships when they're with a partner who wants to socialize excessively or wants to have conversation all of the time. You find them shutting down and giving only one word answers, for example, and that simply is a clue that they need some time alone in their inner cave to recharge their batteries. They'll retreat if they're not allowed to have the time alone that they need. It's a way of coping with challenges and difficulties that makes them feel insecure. But just because of those things, it doesn't mean that they can't be more effective in their communication, and that we don't need to understand this unique character formation and give them what they need so that they'll pop back in and take care of us and meet our needs as well. There's a whole lot of great stuff to say about the ISFJ. And if you're interested, check out our videos on YouTube or attend our interpretation session about the ISFJ. This workshop in particular is for anyone who's struggling as an ISFJ, or anyone who's in a relationship with one and wants to better understand their self-protective, codependent, unconscious behavior and how it can impact their and your love life. So first of all, here's how they bond. ISFJs with an undeveloped sense of self in a relationship, where they're stuck in that codependent stage, they form a dominant submissive bond with themselves in the submissive role. They find themselves in this submissive role, creating a twofold challenge. And this tends to tear at them emotionally. At times, they yearn to open up and really deeply connect with their partner, but they fear being overwhelmed and suffocated. Alternately, they may retreat into their own inner world, feeling isolated and disconnected from their partner, causing emotional pain for both partners. They're trapped in this pattern of submission and compliance with a deep-seated fear of being invaded or intruded upon by their partner. And that fear is, again, it's part of their self-protective system. It doesn't mean that the partner is doing anything wrong. These are just some of the underlying fears that ISFJs tend to have in any relationship. So they're constantly searching for that perfect harmonious balance between intimacy and solitude. They really do crave a secure and safe space where they can be their authentic selves, yet still feel connected to their partner. So it's a bit of an emotional tightrope that they must walk, always striving for that middle ground where they can thrive and grow without losing themselves in the process. These people aren't really into personal growth. As I said, they like to live on that calm surface of things. And personal growth requires us to go in and explore what we don't know about ourselves and accurately assess the parts of ourselves that need developing. And they like what they like. And if they like doing something, they want to just keep doing it, maintaining the status quo in relationships. And so they sort of approach their relationships as ISTJs do, thinking we're happy at the beginning, let's just keep doing what we're doing. We don't have to talk about the relationship. We don't have to talk about our feelings. And they're not the type to start a conversation with, let's talk about the relationship, because they figure if they keep doing what's expected, everyone will be cool. ISFJs are worriers and they can get really freaked out by anything new or untested, and that includes self-discovery. So who do they like to be in relationship with? They like to be in relationship with folks who share their love for the status quo. So if their partner wants to explore, grow, or try new things, ISFJs will tend to resist passively to avoid any discomfort, or they'll go along for the ride pretending that they're interested and they'll do the activity and then they won't change. Or they may show their discomfort through negative vibes or catastrophizing over worst case scenarios or just being a grump. This makes their partner hesitant to suggest new things out of fear of their reaction. So it ends up with their comfort zone starting to be a cage for both of them, especially if the partner doesn't insist on doing new things and trying new things. You end up going to the same resort every year, having the same traditions with the same people, that type of thing, that for some personality types, they do find it a bit of a cage or a prison. ISFJs are great at picking up on subtle cues. They're actually quite empathetic, but they're not the most emotionally expressive. And so as a result of this, they pick up on these cues, but they don't know what to do with it. And so what they'll do is they'll think that they've done something wrong, which of course, and then they'll start trying to make it up to their partner. And it may have absolutely nothing to do with them, but they're not good at deciphering the empathetic, the cues that they pick up because of their deep empathy and connection with their partners. So just remember that if you have an ISFJ partner and they start behaving in a way that says, they're being overly solicitous of me, or they're doing all of these things for me that I may have asked them a month ago, what is going on with them? You, through your mood, may have triggered them into believing they've done something wrong and the relationship is at risk. So here are a few things and I'm going to talk about the three main challenges that we have with the ISFJ. Because of the way their brain is organized, because of their need for both their need to be secure and their need to be connected with their partners. And security comes out of having roles and rules defined for them. And they like to know what their duty is, what's expected of them, so that they can get it, they can do it, and they can do it right. The first challenge is that they'll do their duty and nothing else. So they can be a real headache for their partners because they're all about doing just that. And so if you ask them to go upstairs and get something for you, and there's a load of laundry to go upstairs, they will go upstairs and get what you want without taking up the laundry. I mean, it sounds reasonable. You're going upstairs, you take the laundry. But to them, you've asked them to do one thing and that's all they're doing. And so they stay on point like that. They're total rule followers and they feel very safe when they can stick to a routine and have specific rules in the relationship. But this can really make it tough for their partner to feel like there's a we thing happening, that they're doing things together. And because the ISFJ will resist that type of doing all kinds of things together, because sometimes what they do, even if they go grocery shopping, for example, they'll do it to get some time away, some solitude. So in the car, they are there with themselves in their inner cave, not having to relate to the outer world. Sometimes they don't even play music. They like the silence. And that's that return to their inner safe place where they reestablish their sense of security, and then they can come out. And so it's very hard to do things together. And the other point about this, of course, is it's inefficient if two people go shopping when only one person needs to. It's not about, they forget, you see, that it's not about having a good time together, playing together, going out together to do chores. It's about, just going to the store and buying things, and that's it. They'll say yes to whatever you ask them to do, but they won't go out of their way to initiate or suggest something fun to do together. They'll do what they want to do, whatever they enjoy doing, but not so much of, hey, I was thinking about getting together with these friends, or we haven't been to the movies in a while. Why don't we do this on the weekend? They're more likely to say, what are we doing this weekend? So one thing that really bugs their partner is they never seem to initiate. They never seem to plan for the we. So the other thing is this way that they tend to be compliant and submissive in relationships, which means that when they're doing their duty, they're not looking at or seeing all of those little things that need to be done around the house. They're small picture people. They take in information with their sensing function, which means one thing at a time. As to my example with the laundry, one thing at a time. They don't hold the big picture in the way that those who have the intuitive function as their first or second function tend to do. So if it's not on their to-do list, it's not front and center, it's not in their mind, and their linear brain says to them, I will do what's on my list, and then I can go out to play. So anything that's not part of their regular routine is basically somebody else's problem in their mind. So if the laundry needs to be put away, the kids' homework needs to be checked, you better believe their partner is the one who's going to have to remind the ISFJ, hey, you can pitch in here too. Because ultimately, partners of the ISFJ can feel like they're both left out of their partner's inner world, but also they feel that they're carrying the big picture all the time. And the point around sharing, and sharing is one of the capacities of a healthy, authentic self. And that when we're stuck in our codependent strategies, it's hard for us to share and do things together. And in particular for these people who are loners, they are not good at sharing the load, and they don't really see fundamentally why they need to change. So don't forget, you're going to have to tell them a whole bunch of times, because just telling them once isn't enough. So here's how to handle it. Don't get mad at them for wanting to have roles and rules in your relationship. They just want to feel secure and stable. And don't try to rebel or change yourself just to please them either. Instead, show them how awesome it is to do things together as a team and help them get used to it. Talk to them about how important it is to work together, and remind them how it affects your relationship when they don't. It's not just about them. It's about how you feel in the relationship too. Let them know you understand their need for security, but also that you expect them to help out more and take responsibility for areas of that bigger picture. You're not trying to parent them, just inviting them to be a partner in an awesome relationship. The second challenge, catastrophizing and overanalyzing. Nobody catastrophizes like an ISFJ, because they can get pretty worried about their relationships, because they're all about keeping things harmonious in their personal lives. They want things to be stable, secure, and full of the connections that they so desire to help them feel secure. So when anything disrupts any aspect of the relationship, they can freak themselves out and they worry about everything that's going to go wrong. Plus, they're incredibly empathetic, as I said earlier, and always thinking about putting their partner's feelings ahead of theirs, which can make them overthink stuff and imagine the worst possible outcomes. They can even start thinking that small issues are huge problems and worry like crazy about the future of their relationship. Overall, ISFJs are really conscientious and caring, and they really value security and stability, which can sometimes make them feel like the sky is falling, even when things are actually okay. But it's that harmony, that any disruption to that harmony, meaning my partner is upset about something and my partner is upset with me, could be more direct because they had to remind me to do something again. And they start catastrophizing and thinking this is going to lead to disaster. Understanding, they worry it's a sign that the relationship is falling apart and that their partner is going to leave them. And because they are so conscientious, they can overthink small issues and misunderstanding and imagine worst case scenarios. So if their partner doesn't text them back right away, an ISFJ may worry that their partner is angry with them or has lost interest in the relationship. So the tip, if you sense your ISFJ partner feeling anxious or worried, approach them with warmth and kindness. Talk to them openly and kindly, reassuring them. Again, you're addressing their need to be secure, bringing them down, soothing them. Take the time to express your appreciation and what they bring to the relationship and offer encouragement and make them feel appreciated. Listen to them with empathy and understanding, because if they do share what is going on and what their fears are, dismissing them, laughing at them, shaming them for being afraid like that, it ends up pushing you further away. So really avoid belittling their worries, minimizing their feelings. Instead, strive to create an environment between the two of you of emotional safety where you can both share your thoughts and feelings without judgment and with openness and honesty. Our final challenge. I've talked about how these people need harmony. And the third challenge for people in relationships with the ISFJ is the way they avoid conflict. They can be really tough nuts to crack when it comes to communicating in a relationship, causing so much frustration and work for their partner. They want the stability more than they want to resolve the issues. And the thought of conflict can really make them quake in their boots. They have a knack for avoiding confrontation. They'll do just about anything to keep the peace. They might go to great lengths to prioritize their partner's needs over their own, shy away from discussing issues that are bothering them, and just distance themselves emotionally. They might even resort to giving in to their partner's demands and, of course, making it look like everything is okay. But worst of all, they might clam up entirely to avoid having to deal with the touchy subject. And while these, as I said earlier, while these tactics might work in the short term to keep things pleasant, they have major long-term consequences if issues aren't addressed constructively. Partners of the ISFJ can take for granted how much ISFJs struggle with assertiveness and standing up for themselves, which makes it difficult for them to voice their thoughts and feelings, especially when there's the potential for conflict. Their codependent style is compliance, and they are the compliers. I remember one ISFJ client I had, he told me that his style, he's the type of person that goes to somebody else's party and serves hors d'oeuvres. And so you can get that idea of how To avoid any conflict or uncomfortable feeling, they immediately go into that place of, what can I do for you, to deflect everything off of me. They also worry that being too upfront or assertive could be taken as aggression or confrontation, which will result in more conflict and negative emotions in the relationship. Their ultimate goal is to maintain that emotional balance and avoid any kind of negativity, which of course is impossible in a relationship. They don't want to upset their partner, and they don't want their partner to be upset with them. So a tip, when an ISFJ finally opens up about a conflict, they're exposing themselves. It can be a real vulnerable moment for them, frustrating their need to be secure. They may feel like they've done something wrong and become defensive immediately after they've opened it up. And so there's that sense of, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to take it back. So it's important that you keep creating that safe environment for them to feel comfortable opening up, encouraging them, soothing them, letting them know it's okay to talk about these things. They need guidance in expressing their thoughts and feelings. As a partner, it's crucial to be empathetic and understanding when they do open up. Take the time to acknowledge their emotions and demonstrate that you really get their perspective. Choose your words carefully, too, when discussing the issue. Don't forget to use I statements. I hear you. I know how you must feel. You're saying X, Y, and Z. I appreciate how difficult it was for you to share that with me. Avoid casting blame or pointing fingers. Why does that bother you? That's ridiculous, or judging like that. Make sure you keep them focused on finding a mutual resolution. Remember, we can't resolve feelings. We can only resolve issues. ISFJs will feel supported and empowered to share more if you meet them in this way. So that's a wrap for this session of the relationship style of the ISFJ. Of course, it's just the tip of the iceberg of all things ISFJ. And if you want to know more, to find out more about the relationship style, check out the relationship report for the ISFJ stabilizer, or get our relationship toolkit for the ISFJ, which includes an in-depth video training on all things ISFJ. These are resources available through nowfixyourrelationship.com. There's so much more to be learned about the ISFJ and all of the other 16 personality types. Remember, we're hosting a LinkedIn Live episode for each of the 16 types throughout our Relationship Empowerment Month. Join us tomorrow to find out about the ENFJ, that extroverted feeling type, who in the striving styles we call the socializer, and some tips on how to deal with them in relationships and romance. We've got lots of resources for you, so if you can't make it to our live episodes, hop over to nowfixyourrelationship.com to access all of the posts and recordings, as well as to check out our schedule for the month. And if you're an ISFJ experiencing relationship issues, make sure you contact us for a consultation. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow to talk about the ENFJ. Bye for now.